So I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on what we talked about yesterday because there's one other thing I got to show you before I can give today's assignment. So let's quickly summarize what we were talking about yesterday. We said letters represent numbers, and they can be any number on the planet. We don't know what number it is. It could be any number. And we said there are good variables and bad variables. Y can start to kind of look like a 4. That's not a good one. X, don't use X. Okay, it's a mess. N is okay. M is okay. Anyway, there are good variables and bad variables. And then we said there were different words that stand for addition. We had plus, sum, more than, increased by, in all. Subtraction was minus, difference, less than, subtract, decreased by, less, many more than. Multiplication was times, product, multiplied, each of, factors. Division was divided, quotient, per, rate, ratio, and separate. So all those were words that can stand for math, things that we do in math. All right, but remember we said that the commutative property forces us to keep certain numbers in a certain order. We can't move them all around. Which one are we restricted by? Which things that we do in math are we restricted by? Yes. Say that again. So you said subtraction. You're right. You can't switch those around. What else? Yep, and division. You cannot switch those around. You got to get them in the right order. Okay, so on your piece of paper, I'm going to read a few of these. I want you to give me what I'm saying in math, and then I'm even going to give you the letter. So here we go. 10 increased by n. 10 increased by n. What would I write? Good. 10 plus n. 10 increased by n. Could I switch that around? Yes. What about 7 less than n? 7 less than n. Seven less than n. Is she right? No, you can't switch those around. It's actually 7 less than n. You have to have n before you can take 7 from it. Okay, so listen carefully on the subtraction. You cannot screw that up. It's backwards. Let's try another one. The product of n and 7. The product of n and 7. Someone else. Okay, you could say this, the product of n and 7, but what do I want to see in the upper math? How do I know that these are actually being multiplied? Go. Yeah, that means 7 times n. That means 7 times n. Okay? I never want to see this. Please, I do not want to see that at all. So the product of n and 7. 7 times n. Okay, how about this one? The sum of q and 17. The sum of q and 17. Go. Q plus 17. The sum of q and 17. Good. How about this one? The quotient of 2 and x. The quotient of 2 and x. The quotient, remember I write the division bar. The quotient of 2 and x. Then I don't get it backwards. The quotient of 2 and x. We good with those? Okay, so I'm going to give you about 5 of those where you have to translate the English words into mathematical expressions. Why did we call them expressions and not equations? What was the difference between the two? Who remembers? Okay? Equations I can solve, and these expressions I cannot solve. There is no equal sign, so I can't solve them. It's impossible to solve them. Okay, let's move on then. Then we had simplifying or combining terms. Okay, so let me write a completely different expression than what I had yesterday. I hope I do a different expression. N plus 3n plus 4 minus 5m. Okay, so I did this differently than yesterday. I want to know what the different parts are. Okay, come back. What do I call the numbers that are standing by themselves with no letters? Anyone remember what those are called? They don't change. They will always be that number. Constants. Good, constants. Those are my constants. What are the numbers in front of the letters called? They could change. No, I'm sorry, the numbers can't, but their value could change because they're being multiplied by a letter. Say it again. Coefficient. Coefficient. So we have a coefficient of positive 3. We have a constant, a positive 4. We have a coefficient of negative 5. What about this guy right here? I see no number there. What is it? It's a lonely letter. What do we do when we see a lonely letter? Put a 1. And is there a sign? No. So I'm going to go ahead and put a sign. So what's my coefficient here? Positive 1. Positive 1. Okay, then we have the like ones and the ones that are not alike. 1n and 3n, they're alike. Negative 5m, that is not alike. Positive 4 is not alike to any of these. How many terms do I have altogether? I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what helps me find the terms is when I circle them. Where do I start circling? Over here. Don't start circling over here. What happens is if you start circling over here, you tend to accidentally circle a positive or get something screwed up. So I always start over here. So let's circle these. Negative 5m, positive 4, positive 3n, and positive 1. Okay, I'll wait till everyone's got that written down because I got 7 of you that are just sitting there staring at me like you're actually going to learn something by just staring. It ain't going to happen. You write it down. That's the way it goes in the brain. Don't write it down. It's like trying to become great at basketball without ever dribbling a ball. It ain't going to happen. Come game day, you're going to suck. Send me out, coach. I can win. No, you can't. You haven't practiced at all. No, I have. I've stared at the ball. No, you haven't. Okay, so please write it down. Okay, so let's go ahead and put some stuff together. Let's start with, let's see, I got a 1n and a 3n. When the signs are the same, we add. When the signs are different, we subtract. Then most important, keep the sign of the bigger looking number. Okay, so we got a 3n and a positive 1n. My signs are the same, so I'm going to add. Keep the sign of the bigger looking number, so it's a positive 4n. Let's see, can I do anything with these two? No, so I'm just going to drop them down here. That's it. That's all I can do with it. That's all I can do. Fully simplified. All right, so let's try a few more of these. And then I'll show you the last thing that we never talked about. All right, so please write these down. Here we go. We got 6 minus 4n plus 3n plus 7. Okay, take care of any lonely letters, any missing signs, circle them, and let's see what you get. We'll try a few of these to make sure you got this. Circle the terms, make sure you're combining them. Okay, so I'm going to do I have any lonely letters? No, but I do have a missing sign. Okay, so I'm going to circle my terms. Be careful what you circle. Remember I said don't get sloppy. Don't be that one kid from last year. Okay, stupid. Okay, don't do that. All right, so I'm sorry. Very sloppy. Not a lot of attention to detail. That sounds better. Okay, so here we go. I got a negative 4n and a positive 3n. My signs are different. What do? Subtract. Keep the sign of the bigger looking number. Negative 1n. I got 6 and 7. Signs are the same, so add. Keep the sign of the bigger looking number, and it's a positive 13. So I got negative 1n plus 13. Negative 1n plus 13. Okay, try this one. 8a plus 4 minus 9a. Quickly. I'm trying to give you a bunch that look like what you're going to be doing in a minute. Make sure you can do them. So far I've given you no lonely letters yet. They're coming. But I do have a missing sign. Circle my terms. I got a negative 9a, a positive 4, and a positive 8a. Okay, my signs are different. Subtract. Keep the sign of the bigger looking number. I got negative 1a, and I just got dopey positive 4 to bring down. I can't put him with anything else. Can I solve it? No, but I can simplify or combine my terms. Okay, here come the lonely letters. Let's make sure you take care of these. M minus 4 plus 6 minus 7m. Try that one. Make sure you can do it. In a minute, you're on your own, so make sure you can do it. And I got one lonely letter, and I got a missing sign. So we circle our terms. Okay, I got a negative 7m and a positive 1m. My signs are different. Subtract. Keep the sign of the bigger looking number. Did you get a negative 6m? Okay. My signs are different. Subtract. Keep the sign of the bigger looking number. Did you get a positive 2? Don't call it negative 6m2. Okay, I don't even know what that means. It's like the brand of a snowblower or something. Buy the negative 6M2. Actually, they'd never call it a negative. Who wants to buy a negative snowblower? No one. It's the new 6M2. Blows snow and stray pets straight off your porch. Okay, so make sure that you get that sign in there. Otherwise, it's not going to make any sense. Okay, let's try a few more of these. 1 minus 3n squared. Don't freak out over the squared. Plus n squared minus 6. Try that one. 1 minus 3n squared plus n squared minus 6. Don't freak out. It's just a label. It's just a variable. N squared. Just a variable. Take care of any lonely letters and any missing signs. And circle your terms. And we run through the same dopey rule we've been doing this whole time. Lonely letter, missing sign. Circle my terms. I got a negative 6. I got a positive 1n squared. I got a negative 3n squared. And I got a positive 1. Did you circle the correct terms? Okay, start with the letters. I got a negative 3 and a positive 1. Signs are different, so I subtract, keep the sign of the bigger looking number, and I got negative 2n squared, right? I got 1 and negative 6. My signs are different, subtract, keep the sign of the bigger looking number, and I got a negative 5. Good. Negative 2n squared minus 5. Now, can I switch them around and say negative 5 minus 2n squared? Is that allowed? No, it is. It is allowed. Just don't do it. It's a pain in the butt to grade. That's the only thing. You can move the terms around and it's still right. In fact, when I show you the grades, or when we go to grade this, I'm going to show you the different ways you can write it. As long as you got one of them, you got it right. But just start with the letters and then it's a lot easier to grade. You can move the terms around. It's still correct. Thanks to which property? Commutative. Okay, let's do one more of these, and then I'm going to show you the new stuff that we did not do yet. Here we go. Try this one. 4n minus 5 minus 6n plus 5. Try that one. 4n minus 5 minus 6n plus 5. Missing sign. I got a 4n and a negative 6n. My signs are different, subtract. Keep the sign of the bigger looking number. I got negative 2n. My signs are different, subtract. What do I get? 0. What do I put? Nothing. Please don't do this. Yeah, that's stupid. Don't do that. I mean, that's not an accurate way to write it. Okay, so yeah, don't put plus 0. It's just negative 2n. That's it. Okay? All right, now the new stuff. Write this down, please. 2 times 3 plus 5n. Write it down, please. 2 times 3 plus 5n. The way we actually say it is 2 times the... crap, it was just in my head. Now it's gone. The quantity, that's right. 2 times the quantity, 3 plus 5n. That's the way we're supposed to say it. 2 times the quantity, 3 plus 5n. All right, this is called the distributive property. Distribute. I call it the Christmas property. Here's the guy by the Christmas tree, and he's got all of his kids. Every kid gets a gift. It reminds me of the one year I forgot to get a gift from one of my kids. He sat there and cried the whole day. Big baby. All right, so when we give out a gift, you make sure everyone gets a gift. You're sitting here by the tree, everyone gets a gift. So get your pencils ready. Draw an arrow to the 3. He gets a gift. What's 2 times 3? 6. Okay, then he gives a gift to him. What's 2 times a positive 5n? It's not 10n. Positive 10n. Done. That's it. That's the distributive property. I distribute the 2 to each of the terms inside the parentheses. That's all I'm doing. Distribute the 2 to each of the numbers inside the parentheses. Let's try another one. Negative 4 times k plus 1. Negative 4 times the quantity k plus 1. All right, here we go. Negative 4 times k gives me what? Negative 4k. Negative 4 times positive 1 gives me what? Negative 4. Remember the alien. A negative times a positive is a negative. There's my answer. Negative 4k minus 4. Can I solve it? No. I can't do anything else with it. Okay, let me show you the tougher ones. Negative 2 times x minus 4. I'll wait till everyone's got it written down. These are the tougher ones. If it helps, take care of the lonely letters. What's that x really? 1x. So if you want to, put a 1 there. That's fine. All right, draw the arrows, please. Right now you suck at this. So draw the arrows. Later when you get really good at it, you don't have to draw the arrows. But right now I want you to draw the arrows. Negative 2 times 1x is negative 2x. Okay, here's where everyone screws this up. Negative 2 times a... I like to circle the negative number. I like to circle the negative. What's a negative 2 times a negative 4? Positive 8. What do you think most people do? They forget that it's a negative 4. They just see the 4 and they say it's negative 8. It's not. There's a negative right there, so I always like to circle the sign so I can make sure I got it straight in my head. I'm going to write the alien so I don't forget the alien here. Don't forget the alien. Okay, let's try another one of these. Negative 4 times m minus 3. Negative 4 times m minus 3. Write it down. Don't sit there and stare at me. Write it down. Okay, here we go. I got a lonely letter. Negative 4 times 1m gives me what? No, it doesn't. I got negative 4m. Oh, I didn't hear the negative part. Negative 4 times, careful, let's circle it. What's a negative times a negative? Positive. I get positive 12. So I got negative 4m plus 12. Negative 4m plus 12. Okay, another one that's a little tricky. Negative times, let's go m minus 5. Okay, I got this little floating negative out here. What the crap does a floating negative mean? It really stands for a -1. Have we talked about floaters in this room? No one likes floaters. No one. Especially in the swimming pool. No one likes them. Okay, they ain't Tootsie Rolls. Okay? The negative, we're going to put a -1. When you see a floating negative, just put a -1 and relax. You can work with it. I got a lonely letter. Okay, here we go. Let's draw my arrow. -1 times 1m gives me what? What's a negative times a positive? -1m. What's -1 times, careful, a -5? What's a negative times a negative? Negative times a negative is a +5. Don't say this, -1m5. I don't even know what that means. Okay, no one knows what that means. -1m plus 5. Okay, I'm going to give you 4 up here. I want you to solve these 4. Let's see if you can do it without making the common mistakes that I see people make. Here we go. Try these. -4 times x minus 5. 3 times m plus 4. Negative floater, 4m minus 5. And let's do one more. 2 times -3m minus 6. Okay, try those with the distributive. Let's see what you get. Draw those arrows, guys. It helps. I'm telling you, it helps. Later, when you get really good at this, you can skip the arrows. But right now, let's focus on the arrows. All right, here we go. We got -4 times... Whoa, lonely letter. Lonely letter. Okay. -4 times 1x gives me what? -4x. -4, careful, times a -5. What's a negative times a negative? +20. Did you remember the +20?
Yes.
Okay. 3 times 1m gives me 3m. 3 times 4 gives me what? +12. Oh, floater. No one likes floaters. -1 times 4m gives me what? -4m. -1m times a -5. What's a negative times a negative? +5. Did you get -4m plus 5? Okay, remember, watch those negatives. 2 times -3m gives me -6m. Oh, what the heck? -6m. There we go. 2 times a -6 gives me what? -12. Did you get -6m minus 12? Yes. Now, could I rewrite this -12 minus 6m? Is that still correct? Yes. All I did was move my terms around. Do I want you to do that?
No.
Why?
Because
because it makes my life harder. And remember, it's all about me. Okay, it's all about me. All right. Final test. I'm going to give you 3 of these, and then I'm going to let you work. Here we go. I'm going to give you a word one, a combining terms one, and then a distributing one. Here we go. The quotient of 3 and m, write that, that one, and that one. Okay, solve those 3. That's what you're going to be doing. Okay, the quotient of 3 and m. Quotient of 3 and m. Did we get that? Quotient of 3 and m. You'll always get it in the right spot. Okay, do I have any lonely letters? Yes. Do I have any missing signs? Yes. Let's circle my terms. I got a 1n squared and a negative 4n squared. My signs are different, so I subtract. Keep the sign of the bigger looking number. Signs are different, subtract. Keep the sign of the bigger looking number. Do we get it? Negative 3n squared plus 2. Negative 2 times negative 6x is a positive 12x. Negative 2 times a, careful, negative 10. Negative times a negative is a positive 20. 12x plus 20. We good? 12x plus 20. All right, so your assignment. I'm going to give you a worksheet. I think you can actually do it all on the worksheet. I don't think you need to fold the piece of paper. Let me look and make sure. No, I think you can do it all on the worksheet. Just be careful. If you want to use a separate sheet, you can. I don't care. It's the 3-1 Day 1 worksheet. 3-1 Day 1 worksheet. If you can't print it, open it up on your screen, fold your paper 4 times, open it up, and write one problem in each of those boxes.